GM Farcaster. You're here for the art, and today we are chatting with Renee Campbell, an amazing artist who I've been a little bit obsessed with for a while now. So we're going to talk about her artist journey, and then how she moved into Web3, and then how she ended up on Farcaster and has blessed us all with some amazing art on the timeline. And I'm so grateful. Welcome, Renee, GM. It's GM where you are.
Yes, it is. It is. It's a horribly cold day in Sydney, but I know I can't complain about that to everyone else in the world because it's probably not that cold to you. But
oh, it's definitely not. I am like, well, today where I am, it's about in the 90s. I'm on the opposite side of the world, opposite season at the moment. So
yes, it's so funny for us because in Australia, when everyone's constantly going out in summer, and then when we're in summer, no one seems to like to acknowledge that. So we just quietly enjoy the weather, and it's so funny. As very much the minority. Yeah,
I actually wrote something a while back called. It was about time zones, and because I've had so many friends that I've met through Web3 that are in Australia on the other side of the world, that like it became almost a daily game where I'd say, I call it my here, ready for my daily game. What time is it in Australia? And I have to look at my world clock on my phone. So it's I love that Web3 has like, I have like this touch point globally with so many people that I otherwise wouldn't have. And I love it. It's such a
fantastic. Yeah, I love it. I've given up on knowing everyone's time zones though. I just,
it's impossible.
I wander around clueless, and I just figure someone will tell me at some stage if it's day or night, and I go with that. I forget days too, because a lot of the time you guys are all saying it's one day when it's not for me. So it's just, it's too hard.
That was like, trying to set the schedule. I'm like, so you mean for me, Monday evening, Tuesday morning? It was like, let me just make sure I've got the right thing.
Did you notice I left it for you to work out? Because I was like, no, can't do it.
I can't figure it out. But anyway, we are, I'm so excited that you agreed to chat. And I really want to dive into your artist journey, and then also your Web3 and Farcaster journeys. But let's start with that and talk a little bit about your art. How did you get started? What is your background? What's your medium that you started with? And then how did you move to sort of what you're doing now?
Okay. Well, photography, actually, I started back, if I go back, it was drawing because I didn't have access to a camera. So I'd love to work with charcoals, and I'd do portraits. I was obsessed with portraits. And then when I finally could afford to get the camera when I was older, that became my focus. And it wasn't too long before I hit macro, because details have always been a thing. And when I look back, you know how you can look back at your life and you see the consistency coming through? Mm-hmm. Like I realized later on that flowers were always a thing. They would be, I'd play with them. There'd be imaginary friends. There'd be houses, there'd be blankets, there'd be everything in my imaginary world. So it wasn't much of a surprise when I then found macro and went, oh, I can get lost in these details, and I can create these worlds. So that's where I've mainly stayed. As soon as I found that in photography, I kind of abandoned everything else because it was very much me. And then through coming into Web3, it wasn't too long before I discovered AI. And so with AI, I could explore more. And I started off with the Florians, which you might remember were these little and that was my first exploration in AI. And then I started using my photos as seeds to the work I was doing, which is where I got into these abstracts. Yeah, so there's Liat.
I love the Florians. Like, this was my first introduction to your art was on Tezos, on objects, and it was the Florians. And it was through, we were just talking about our friend Pamela from the VFriends. I met her through the VFriends community, and she got very much into the Tezos community and was doing a lot of spaces related to the art on Tezos. And that's how I sort of found you. And I own quite a few of these. So yeah, I love the Florians. They're amazing. So
Well,
can you talk a little bit about them and like what what the Florians are and like what they represented for you?
well, for me, like the Florians were first of all, they were my chance to explore other things other than macro. Because I'm chronically sick and I don't go out and move around a lot, it was a great new way to explore the worlds that I had in my imagination that I could get out. And so what I used the Florians for is a little social comment. So the whole idea of them was that humans had destroyed the world, and the Florians have now come to restore the earth and bring it back to its glory. And so they're this just imaginary world of floral beings that are gentle, they're protectors, and then they come into the world to fix it.
Love
and
that.
So for me, I wanted them all to be female because I, think we need more of the female strength, and it kind of suited what I do anyway. And yeah, so that was what they were. And each one of them is a compilation of a few images put together. So there'd be like for Amara there, it's the head separate to the body, which is separate to the zebras, separate to some of the flowers, separate to the background. Like it's all a compilation that I put together in Photoshop of many images to make her. And so they're all just little stories. That
I love
want
that they're all like characters to me. They're all like different. Yeah. They all have these different personalities and different characters and backstories, and they're just so like these powerful women.
Yeah.
And I just loved that so much. Yeah. And these are some other pieces I was looking for. Yeah, there was one I was looking for. Oh, this is the one, the winter one. I love this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the winter Florian.
Yeah, that was me imagining what winter was like, because as much as I complain about winter here, it doesn't look like that.
It doesn't look like that at all. But this is there's something so beautiful about this, where when you first look at it, it just looks like you've zoomed into this flower, and then you realize it's actually a person under there, so to speak, a character, if you will. So I love this one. It really just always grabbed my attention. But they're all so beautiful.
We'll just ignore my doorbell.
Pippin's do you need to go get it? We can pause.
Hang on. Let me just,
we'll just pause. No problem. Quick little edit. So the Florians, I love the story behind them. I love what you've done. They're really beautiful. Have you thought of any other kind of takeoff on these in terms of like maybe creating character books or like building off of the stories of each of these, or any other plans for the Florians?
I did at the time, and then because I have ADHD, I kind of got sidetracked. So they're sat there, and I love them for what they were, and they kind of feel to me like they were the time. I actually still have a few that I never released. They just kind of sat around. So I don't know when I'll let them out, but yeah, I don't know.
I'd love to see a base Florians collection. Maybe a based Florians collection would be kind of cool. On base. Yes. That would be kind of fun for ones you haven't released yet.
Away.
We'll put that in your head. I'm just gonna leave that there, and we'll see. We'll see what comes of that.
Yeah, it's on the back burner now. It's one of the many things I'll be thinking about.
Yeah, I love. So I love your macro. You have released a couple of these on base, which is fantastic. On Zora.
So they're the AI created from the macro. That's the one that's currently available. So these ones have all been born out of a macro photograph. And because my motivation, see, what I see in flowers every day, when I look at a flower, they're little dancers to me. Like every petal has this beautiful elegance to them and grace. And what I wanted to highlight when I was playing around with AI is just that. So I wanted to show that elegance that I see in a petal, just a single petal. And that is, to me, a little dancer. So that's what these ones are. And then I've got the new collection that I'm working on, which I know most people don't release and show what they're working on. But I do. So for me, most of the casts I do are things that haven't been minted yet, which I know is dangerous, but I have no.
A little bit. Can be
is.
dangerous. Can be dangerous.
It
Yeah.
can be, but I get impatient and I just like to share. So I'll, yeah, I've put them out a lot. So the elements are coming, which is a white background set, and they're all based off one image. Actually, there's a mother image that I haven't released before, and that has created all of the elements. And then from there, I'm creating. You would have seen them in casts. I'm creating wild elements. So it's when the elements are released into the wild, and then they're landscapes, part of a landscape. So I go where my mind takes me. So wherever I feel like the idea wants to go, then I go. Which problem being is I don't tend to finish anything quickly, because with that and chronic migraines, I'll retouch on a good day. See, that's an element in the wild.
I love that. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So it's my way of exploring a landscape, because I can't. So I get to create the worlds I want to be in. I know. Just chill, buddy. Yeah.
He just wants to add. He has his 2 cents. He wants to support.
That's him saying he wants pets.
He wants pets. I love this. This one is so beautiful. It has such movement to it. So this is sort of taking the macro photography of different flowers, using AI to sort of create the world around it, and then and interpret it. And it's such a unique approach. I don't think I've seen anyone else doing something similar. Are there others who are doing anything related to like the sort of macro photography?
Don't think so. I don't think so. So that one is created from that. The image below is the element. So that's the element that created that element in the wild. So it's traveled. Pippin, just come here, bud.
Poor guy.
So needy.
He just wants love. So beautiful. But I really love like how you've taken that and then created this. Like it's just such a great interpretation that is really amazing. So when is this releasing? Are you going to be releasing the elements?
Yeah, the elements I'm still working on. So I'm probably halfway through retouching them. And so from that point, I will release them. But I would like to make them print as well. So I just have to get a whole load of stuff organized, because originally when I started creating them, it was because I wanted 3 of them on a wall in my house.
I love it.
And then it was from that it grew. But as you can, to me, that still looks like a petal. It's like a dancing petal that's falling. And that's what the motivation is the whole time. It's just, my work is always about, most of the time, is about just being relaxing and meditative when you look at it. And that's what I want in my life. I live with a lot of pain. I live with 3 crazy boys. My house is very loud, and I just want to break. And so when I go and shoot or when I create, I'm very hyper-focused on that. So I often don't hear anything that's going on around me. So that the whole idea for me is that escape is what I want you guys to feel when you look at the work. And
it definitely, I feel that, it's very soothing. You feel like when I look at this other, landscape, it feels like what a relaxing place to be. Amazing. So it's definitely coming across in your work for sure.
Yeah, because that's always my plan. And I want to create something no one has seen before, because to me, it just seems like, why wouldn't I? I want to be excited by it. So I want to have not seen it before. Therefore, that's what I want to show you guys. And I want it to be calm. And the only time it isn't is when I've shown you a piece. When I'm using movement in photography, I'm still exploring it, but I find it really interesting because it's got these crazy movements. So it's crazy and calm at the same time. So I'm trying to work through those and just see where I'm going with it. But it's a little collection that slowly builds. Once again, I just share before I mint.
Yeah, and I love the flow of it. There's just such a flow. I think dancing is a great analogy to what's happening. It definitely feels like this, because dancing can be chaotic, it can be soothing, it can be many things, and you can kind of feel that in that flow.
Yeah, well, dancing and music to me is they're the ultimate art forms, because you can feel so much depending on the song you're listening to or the choreography you're watching. There's so much feeling in it. So I'm just trying to translate that in a still. Yeah.
And I love this one as well. This was bronze. This was your first?
Yes.
That was on bass, correct?
Yes, that was my first pre-mint. And again, to me, it's a dancer. Like every time I look at them, that's what I'm trying to do. And it's a very unusual color scheme for me. I don't usually put a gray in there. But that one, I think it was originally like purple and pink or something. And I went, no, that color doesn't work for this shape. So I switched it up.
I love it. And so orange is one of my favorite colors. So that anything that's orange always grabs my attention. This one like leaped out at me and I was like, okay, we're minting lots of these. Like, I love this one. And then I gave it away. Like, I was like, you guys got to go check this out. This is amazing. It just really grabbed me. But when we were just talking about dancing, this is the one that popped in my head because you can feel it. It almost feels like a ballroom dancer's skirt when they flip it and twist it. If you think about that, like that to me is what I see when I look at this. And it's, you know, a macro photography of a flower. And I just think that's so cool that, you know, this thing is one thing, but it's also, you know, the interpretation of so many other things. And I just love that approach.
I find these AI pieces are like, they remind me of, you know, when you guess a form in a cloud, when you're looking up at the clouds and go, what does that look like? That's how I see these pieces, because it's like, oh, that reminds me of, and it can be interpreted in so many ways, which, having said that, so can my photography. People see a lot of different things in each piece. And I like that. I like that because I personally want to have stuff on the wall, like what's behind me. I want to have stuff that I don't necessarily know exactly what it is, but it just makes me feel something. So that's why I look at those two every day, because they're just calming and they're colorful, which clearly I like color, and calming.
I love that. And so you started a couple channels. We're going to jump back a little bit and talk about your sort of journey onto Farcaster. You do have a couple of channels on Farcaster that I definitely want to encourage everybody to go check out. Flora is one of them. And this is for anyone creating art around flora, around flowers. So I love some of the things that you're posting here, because these are great because you get to see the Florians as well as some of the macro photography. I love the way you've kind of put these together, where you get this sort of vibe of all your different types of work. And you've got some other folks who are posting theirs as well, which is fantastic.
I got to say, thanks to Dan and the Streaks. He motivated me to post in there more often, because I was getting a bit lazy with the channel. So thanks to that, it got me back in there, which seems to have brought other people back in again, which is really nice. And I'd encourage anyone that has any floral art. It's not just photography, and people seem to think it might be because it's me, but it isn't. It's for any kind of art. And if there are people in it, like in that, it doesn't matter. It's all about, if there's a flower featured, then put it there. And it's a really relaxing channel to scroll through, I think.
Very. It's just lovely. It will just put a smile on your face for sure.
Yeah.
And then you have your own channel sort of to feature your own art and maybe highlight things you're working on, get feedback, all those kinds of fun things. So love this, and also share like what you've been doing. So you had some art on display in Lisbon back a bit ago, that when they were doing a conference there. And that's amazing. I love seeing that. And you've had your art displayed quite a bit at different conferences and different events. So which is fantastic. It seems to be, it's so eye-catching. If I remember, were you in like the billboard in Times Square too or something?
Yes. That was Florian got onto the billboard at Times Square, which was really cool. Originally, that was really interesting because it was supposed to be a macro photograph. They had contacted me at first. Come here. Come here. He's lying on the floor and I can't reach him. They had contacted me at first and said, we're going to put your macro photo on the billboard. And I'm like, oh my God, amazing. And then they switched it at some stage. But I also didn't realize you were only supposed to apply once to that. So applied with a photo and with an AI piece because I fit into different genres. And then I got both AI and photography on their tickets, and then I
Oh,
got on
right.
Billboard.
Right.
So it was
Fantastic.
really, no, it was
That's
very
right. I forgot about the tickets. That's what it was. You were on the
yeah,
tickets too. I remember that. So
yeah,
what a fantastic experience. That's great. I love that.
yeah, that was fun.
I love when I didn't get a chance to go to NFT NYC this year. Past 2 years when I've gone, that's been one of my favorite moments, is to be in Times Square and seeing artists who I know and love, pop up on these big giant screens. And it's just a phenomenal experience. If you haven't
It's
had a chance, go check it out. Yeah,
yeah,
it's a lot of fun. And I think I remember yours like the 2 years ago. I think I
yeah,
recall that. And it was pretty amazing. So
yeah.
I love that you've kind of, you came into Farcaster like not that long ago. About how long ago have you been, did you come on? Like
In
7 months?
early 5 months ago. Yeah,
5 months ago.
yeah,
But I love that you sort of dove in right away and
yeah.
started to like just connect and start casting. So what sort of prompted you to join Farcaster, jump on Farcaster, and what has kept you coming back?
Okay, so this is something I find hard to answer because for the life of me, for the last few months, I'm trying to remember what it was that got me here. There was someone's tweet, something happened that I went, I'll try it out. And I never do anything. I do things by feel in life. I don't plan. Excuse me. I don't plan. So it was one day someone had tweeted something, made me interested. So I went, I'll go check it out. And from the moment I came into Farcaster, I was like, I was sold. It was immediate to me. I took to it. I love the channels. I love the freshness of it. I love that you wake up like every morning and I go, okay, what 5 new things have been invented overnight? And what do I have to learn? And my bookmarks are just full of things that I've gone, I'll get to that later, but never get to. But I just figure it's kind of the nature of the place.
Yep.
So I try to coexist. I try to keep up with all the clever people. I do my best. So
I think you're doing fantastic. I've only seen a couple artists who I feel have really, like who like sort of came on fairly recently and stuck around and really like have contributed and found their way and found an audience. And it just comes from like, just stick around, right? Just keep casting. And people find you, just show up and contribute. And we need more art on the timeline. And I love seeing your art. Every time I see you cast something, it just, makes me smile as I'm scrolling through. So it's always something that catches my attention. And I love that you stuck around. I love what you said about streaks too. Dan's going to be very happy to hear this part.
Yeah, it was so strange. Like I know everyone was freaking out about them, and now I'm really like. Yesterday, I thought I didn't cast in Florida. I was nearly heartbroken. I was like, oh my God, did I miss my streak? Luckily, I was okay by a few hours. But then I got paranoid and cast in there a few more times to make sure I didn't lose it. It's like it's a nice little medal to say, yeah, that's consistency. Well done, you. And I love it.
So I think you have a from the day streaks came out streak, right? I think so, right? So you haven't missed a day, which is fantastic.
No,
by the way, I lost I knew when I was going to lose mine. Like I knew there's like Saturdays I've been trying to sort of step back a little bit. I still will always reply and stuff like that. And I knew when I was traveling that day, I'm like, I'm going to lose my streak today. There's no way.
Yeah, see, once I commit hard. So I come here, I'm casting whether or not my head's about to fall off or not. I'll cast. But the bot or not will tell me when I've had some bad days. Like
we were talking about this before. Bot or not, it's kind of mean sometimes.
Not so mean.
But before we talk about bot or not, I just wanted to show this because this was adorable. This was
so that's my sister.
Yeah, I love this that your sister like makes this like food art. It's fantastic. It's so cute.
Yes. Yeah, so I would never be.
I wish I could be this creative. But
no, she does these, and her daughter, who is 6 now, they are like literally 2 peas in a pod. I've never seen a connection like theirs. And these are, to me, they're her love notes to her daughter, Charlie. So she makes these for her. and they're all her. She's like a really little girl with black hair, and they're all her. So they're the sweetest thing. And I do these other little worlds that are with like model train people and stuff, and I construct in a different way, but I would never have that patience and precision.
It's beautiful. It grabbed my attention. It's so cute. And then just everything you cast is just so lovely. Like it brings a smile to your face. Like it's so fun.
Well, that's my aim. I just want to make people feel good, because why wouldn't you want to? Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I mean, that's why we're here. I really do love that you've stuck around, that you dove in. I love that you love streaks. Like, I think that's so fun. And I feel like you've treated this like a social network, where I think some people come over from Twitter and treat it like Twitter, or treat it like other social media, where they're just, broadcasting, and you're doing that where you're contributing your art and sharing your art, but you're also then, I see you in the replies constantly. Like you're trying to connect with people. It's not just about what can I extract from this? It's about like, what can I contribute to it? And I really appreciate that so much. So
thank you. Well, yeah, I think it's the job of the people that come in later to understand what they're coming into. Yeah. And to show respect for that. So I try, with the energy I have, which can be limited, I try to understand what was before I come in and try to do anything different. So that's what I'm always trying to learn. So before we started recording, I was wanting to know a little bit more about you coming in, or when Adrienne wrote the story, I was so happy to read it, because I want to understand
what was before. Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, because it makes you get the space. So if you come in and you just try to change everything and you don't even know what's going on, I just don't see it seems ridiculous to me. So I am always trying to understand what was the OG experience before this second round of
before what we call Farcaster 2, V2. But I also appreciate, like, new people coming in. We need to encourage that and embrace and help and assist. But also, it doesn't have to. It's not going to stay the same. The only thing, the only thing we know for sure is that change will happen. But also, I appreciate that, like, a little bit of, let me figure out what this all is and how I can add to it, and then, when I see change that's needed, I make those. I can make those changes. But I love that approach. I think it's perfect. And I think that's why you've had a great experience too with the platform, and like finding those folks and finding a new audience. You found new collectors and new audience.
It's fantastic. Hang on, Pippin, come here.
Pippin, we're almost done, Pippin, I promise.
No, such a needy dog. But yeah, because I've also got another channel, but I'm very terrible at it, and I will most probably get in trouble with Stat about this, because I've got Base Australia as well that I
saw that.
Yes, but I'm terrible, hopeless. I need to get some more Australians to help me there and build it up so we can build a community for Base here. But I don't know.
So we're calling all Australians.
Yes.
Calling all Australians.
Come to me.
Come to the Base Australia channel and contribute. So you do have Peter in there.
Pete.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, which is cool. We were going to meet up 2 weeks ago, but my health stopped that. So just go down a bit on Pete's cast there, because he wrote the other way. He wrote. The problem for us Australians is saying Farcaster sounds like we're swearing, and he played on
that one. Oh.
Yeah, like I can't say Farcaster in my house without my husband giggling, because it sounds, because we don't pronounce the R's like you guys do. So it just, it's always like we're swearing.
That's so funny. And what's funny is that, so I'm originally from Massachusetts, where we notoriously drop our R's. So when there's a Moz episode, it's a podcast with that Dan is often on, and his friend Eric is the host, and they had Mike Rainbow on there, Mike Damaris, and he's originally from Massachusetts, as is Dan, and as am I, and we're all from the same like general area. And he was telling somebody about Farcaster. He said, and they were calling it Farcaster. And I was like, yeah. Like I hear it. So so that's exactly how we would say it back home as well.
Yeah, so it's always
Yeah.
amusing. Every time my husband's like having a little laugh.
But we love it. We love the Australians. I will just say that some of my favorite people that I've met within Web3 have been the Aussies, and I think you guys bring some incredible energy to the space. So I hope that we get some more folks in the Base Australia channel. So if you're Australian and you're
Yes.
not posting in there, get in there. I'm gonna go tag Gammy and a few others.
Oh,
Get them
that'd
in
be
there.
good. Yeah, I will get better at growing it, or else I'll probably get kicked out of the group. But yeah, I do have to
I
get
don't
better.
think so. I think that's great though. And I love seeing Base having its moment and having people all over the world find Base and start to contribute and build on it. And that's been a lot of fun. And we have Base Camp coming up at the end of this month when this will likely be dropping. Will be probably the week of Base Camp. So we'll be dropping this piece in this episode and look for that then. What else should we know before we wrap about things you might have minting right now or things that are coming up? I know you have a couple things. You do have something on Base right now still minting.
Yes,
I
I've got
believe.
one thing. I've left it for it's got a long limit on it, so I can just relax and let it be.
Amazing.
But there will be more coming up. The elements will come up soon, and then the elements in the wild will follow that.
Amazing.
And then there are other things because I've got my portraits pairings that I have to put out as well. But I love Base, so it seems like it's where I'm going to live. I don't think I've ever felt as welcomed as I have in Farcaster and in Base. Like it just feels a nice fit.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love to hear that. That's amazing. It's why we have been building on Base as well. And just to show this one more time, this is the elements that are coming shortly, which I cannot wait. I think this is going to be amazing, an amazing collection. I'm excited that you're putting it on Base. Oh, there's another one that's crazy.
Yeah.
I love that. So I'm really excited to see this collection come out, and I'm excited to share. We will be sharing it when this comes out. This will come out the same day as the piece that you're doing for our Here for the Art collection, and it'll be airdropped to our Wow Hyper Sub, and then it'll be available for others to mint. So we hope that that lots of folks will get a chance to collect your work, which will be amazing. So,
right, and now I'm a part of your Hyper Sub, so I will get my mint.
Yes, you'll get your own mint. we would have given it to you anyway. And I really appreciate you being part of our community and contributing to GM Farcaster in all the ways. So thank you for that.
Pleasure. I should have done it sooner. Yeah, I love watching your shows. I learn a lot every time I watch.
That's great. Great to hear. And we love that. And we have a lot more fun coming up in the future, but I'm excited that you agreed to be part of our Here for the Art project. It's important. I feel like we need to really uplift the artists who are contributing to the timeline. Yeah. And that's my goal with this is, we've had 3 pretty OG artists. And then this round, we're bringing in some folks who are a little newer to the Farcaster ecosystem, established artists, to kind of mix it up. And to also just say, hey, we appreciate that you're here and that you're adding so much beauty to our timeline. So thanks for that.
You are. I think it's a beautiful thing that we can incorporate devs and artists together. I think it's great.
Yeah. That's what Web3 is, right? The intersection of art and tech. So here we are. Amazing. And so thank you so much. And with that, we will see you again soon, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.